Nothing is quite like the sound of a plate reverb, a classic studio device which uses a vibrating metal sheet to produce a wide range of ultra-smooth reverb sounds. The best plate reverb units, produced by German company EMT, are literally part of the fabric of modern music. In fact, the EMT 140 plate was the only reverb used on Pink Floyd's legendary Dark Side of the Moon. Unfortunately, few smaller studios can afford to own and maintain a physical plate reverb today. Enter the Universal Audio EMT 140 plate reverb plugin. The EMT 140 plugin replicates the sonic signature of 3 uniquely different EMT 140 plate reverbs, formerly found at the world-renowned studio, The Plant in Sausalito, California. UA thoughtfully combined the look of various elements of the EMT 140 system into one convenient panel, replicating the original damper controls for decay and adding additional controls for the convenience of the modern DAW user. Each original EMT 140 controller has one damper control. This control moves a pad that is about the same size as the plate closer to the plate, thus decreasing the reverb time. We modeled these EMT 140 plates at numerous damper settings, since damping not only affects the reverb time, but the EQ and amplitude of the reverb as well.
The plate reverb, having those 3 different models of the plate, is ridiculous. But like, you can have the bright plate, you can kind of have that woollier plate, and it makes a big difference depending on what you're throwing into it. Like for a really trebly guitar, you want to have the darker plate. For a dark Rhodes kind of thing, you want to have the brighter plate. I was going to buy a plate, but I don't think I'm going to anymore.
Now I'm going to look at the EMT 140 controls in depth. First thing you'll notice about the EMT 140 plugin is you have 3 plates to choose from. Plate A being the brightest, B offering a little bit more low end, and C offering the fullest bandwidth of the 3. You can adjust the reverb time by moving the needle up or down, or you can use the buttons for finer control. You can actually get a really nice room sound by bringing the needle all the way to the bottom, to the shortest reverb time. But I'm going to soak this thing with reverb, so I'll move it back up. Once you've picked a plate you want, you might want to use a little EQ. So, moving over to the EQ section, it's got 12 dB of booster cut between 200 and 20 kHz on the high shelf, and between 20 and 2 kHz on the low shelf. So I've got a high frequency boost and a low frequency cut to brighten this plate up a little bit. Other controls are stereo width, which can collapse the stereo reverb signal to mono, and then you can pan it left and right. We've also added modulation, which thickens up the reverb tail by adding a chorusing effect. It's fairly subtle, but on the maximum setting you can hear it. Let's just back that off a little bit. We also added pre-delay, up to 250 milliseconds. Pardon the warping sound, that's what happens when you adjust it during playback. But hey, this can make a cool effect. On the drums, I wanted a little ambience around the snare, but the drums were recorded just as a stereo pair, so I couldn't isolate the snare track. The UA EMT 140 plugin includes the original EMT 80Hz input shelving filters and custom aftermarket Martech low-cut filters, which many studios had installed. So I used plate A set to a short decay setting for some nice ambience, and I used the input filter here, which filters out the low frequencies, and as I turn it up, you'll hear less and less low frequencies in the reverb. As part of Universal Audio's award-winning UAD-powered plugin family, the EMT140 plate reverb runs on the Mac and Windows compatible UAD-2 DSP accelerator platform, available from Universal Audio dealers worldwide. This VST, audio units, and RTAS compatible plugin runs in a fully functioning demo mode on the UAD-2 hardware for 14 days, during which it can be purchased directly from the UA Online store. Bring the ultra-smooth sonics of the legendary EMT140 plate reverb into your mixes with Universal Audio's EMT140 plate reverb powered plugin, only on the UAD-2, only from Universal Audio.